Welcome to Stream, a truck-tractor-trailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and as we promised a few episodes ago, we are going to do our part 2 of our deep dive study into some of these electric vehicle statistics here that CalSTART and Empire Clean Cities are working on. Some really interesting data there for you fleet operators looking to make the push into EV and to extend EV adaptation. I'm going to start by kicking it over to Joy Gardner from the Empire Clean Cities Coalition.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Zach. Excited to be back. So just to kind of recap where we left off, my name is Joy Gardner. I'm the Executive Director of Empire Clean Cities. We're an environmental nonprofit and also the U.S. Department of Energy's Clean Cities Coalition for New York City and the Lower Hudson Valley. We're working with our friends at CalSTART on a U.S. Department of Energy funded EV data collection study for medium and heavy duty vehicles. The data is currently being collected from all over the country, including New York, across different vehicle classes, everything from yard tractors to transit buses. And the goal of the study really is to create this comprehensive and recent study of EV technology in medium and heavy duty space. We're tracking trends and providing insights across different vehicle classes, use cases, duty cycles, and climates, which we'll talk about in a second. And if there's any gaps in the technology, this data is really going to help us to identify where additional research and improvements are needed, and that to really help make the industry grow and help us all sort of more efficiently reduce transportation emissions. So we have some preliminary findings from the studies that's been collected so far, from the data that's been collected so far. So I'm going to kick it over to our partner, Yin Chu, the lead data scientist from CalSTART, to walk us through what we've found so far. Yin?
Yeah, thanks, Joy. Thank you for having me. Let me share my screen. So my name is Yin Chu. I'm a lead data scientist at CalSTART. I'm mainly responsible for data analytics and management. It's my pleasure today to present about our EV data collection project funded by DOE. As we introduced before, it is one of its kind data collection effort that has a national scope to collect from at least 200 battery electric vehicles. And very importantly, we focus on medium and heavy duty segments, of which the data are still rare. You can see the very diverse portfolio of vehicle types. We have trucks, buses, and yard tractors, both on-road and off-road. And even within heavy duty trucks, we also have body styles of box trucks and trailer tractors. And for each vehicle type, we usually have models by different OEMs. So the project is really providing insights on a very diverse portfolio. And today I want to share some of our findings on energy efficiency. First, looking at this chart, by each vehicle platform and body style, we are looking at their real-world efficiency performance. It shows us the ballpark of each vehicle type using energy consumption per mile as the metric. Basically, the more energy used, the less efficient, right? It's very intuitive to find the middle number here labeled as the median of the distribution. It's higher for the heavier segments and a little lower for the medium duty segments. To understand how efficient are EVs compared to diesel vehicles, we need to do some calculation. Here, use the yard tractor as an example. We translate this kilowatt hour per mile to MPG. So for electric, it would be 14.1 MPG. And for diesel equivalent vehicle, it's about 6.5 MPG. So it's more than double the efficiency. We do the same calculation for the other types and find overall battery electric vehicles are 2 to 4 times more efficient than the diesel counterparts. It validates what we know about electric vehicles that have much lower energy use for the same duty cycles, which lends a lot of operational cost savings. In addition, we find the efficiency number stated by the OEMs. We call it nominal efficiency, usually 4 at the lower end of the distribution, meaning most of the real performance have not reached the expectation, likely due to many factors, such as their different duty cycles, the climate conditions, and how they drive the vehicles. So one of the main factors that significantly impact efficiency is ambient temperature. In the chart here, we observe a seasonal pattern across different regions. The yellow lines are for temperatures and blue bars are for the energy consumption rate. We see the higher consumption per mile in winter and spring, while the ones in warmer months seems to be lower. In West Coast, where the climate can be considered mild and the change in efficiency is not as dramatic as those seen in the Midwest and Northeast. So the colder month in Midwest and Northeast can sometimes reach lower than 30 degrees, and their efficiency will be substantially impacted. In order to establish the correlation in a more statistical way and quantify the impact, we run a regression model for the ambient temperature and energy efficiency. We are 99% confident about the correlation, and we find this nonlinear correlation between temperature and efficiency using transit bus as an example. As you can see from the table, when the buses operate in colder climates, 1 degree change is going to have a stronger impact on efficiency, while in mild climates, the impact is much smaller. And we found that the optimal temperature for transit bus to operate is about 81 degrees. We find similar results in yacht tractor as well, using regression, where the extreme cold climates have the strongest impact on efficiency, next in the cold climates, and then the mild climates. It's the same progression of the magnitude of impact. Okay, so in the next 2 slides, I will show you the case of the vehicles operating in the Empire State. We have 3 yacht tractors for 13 months of data collection. These are orange EVs, Class 8, and operating off-road. They are moving very heavy containers and freight in the field like a terminal tractor. Since they are off-road, so their duty cycles are also pretty unique. Driving at very low speed, their daily distance is also quite limited, about 30 miles a day on average. Their driving time, that means they're actually moving rather than idling, is about 2 to 7 hours. Sometimes can be up to 12 hours. Among all these 28 yacht tractors in our database, they are running a little less distance, but about the same driving time. In general, these yacht tractors are running on a pretty large range of duty cycle each day. Another point to mention is that these off-road trucks usually spend more time idling than on-road heavy-duty trucks, which is pretty understandable. Let's also look at energy consumption. Their energy consumption also have a very big range, ranging from 31 to 102 kilowatt hours on a typical day. The median is about 66, which is less than half of the full battery charge. The full battery capacity is 160 kilowatt hour. And in the chart here on the above, you can see sometimes in extreme cases, they can use more than the energy of a full charge. So we know yacht tractors, the charging is not a big concern. They can easily plug into a charge during or between the shifts. So yeah, that's for yacht tractors. For their energy efficiency, they use about 1.9 to 2.6 kilowatt hour per mile and performing relatively well, beating about 60% of the other yacht tractors in the database. And then finally, we can summarize with 3 takeaways. The first, medium heavy-duty EVs are about 2 to 4 times more efficient than diesel counterparts, providing substantial operational cost savings. And then our data model shows cold climates have strong impacts on the energy efficiency. Particularly, this is relevant to the fleet in Northeast. And lastly, we want to encourage the fleets to take advantage of this opportunity to join the project, and you can benefit from the learnings of this national collection of real-world performance data and build confidence in your transition to electrification. So here's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I will hand it back to you, Zach.
Thanks so much for that, Yan. I really appreciate it. Great job. Great to actually really look at this data myself, you know, because Joy and we've been talking about this for a while. You know, we've been working with the CalSTART team Northeast, really trying to get more fleets involved. And this is the information that they need in order to go ahead and make those decisions. I find the fact that the medium duty vehicles are, I'm not surprised they're more efficient, but I think they really needed to see that laid out in front of them. And Joy, I think, you know, the timing for this is pretty ideal, because just as you and I, as we do this recording, just this week, our governor, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, made an announcement about the shift to electric vehicles, and that, and correct me if I get the details a little bit wrong, but that the state of New York will ban the sale of new diesel vehicles in 2035. Is that correct?
New gas and diesel car and SUVs by 2035. Yes.
Okay.
So there is, you know, another goal later on that I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about for medium and heavy duty vehicles. But yeah, there's a lot. The governor made some exciting announcements yesterday, and New York State is going to be making a lot more investments, both in rebates and incentives for transitioning to electric vehicles of all classes, as well as making significant investments, in part using federal funding for charging infrastructure throughout the state as well. So we're going to see a lot more chargers on the road, a lot more funding available for to help fleets make those transitions. And so it's a really exciting time to be in this space, and it's becoming more and more sort of accessible to get some of these technologies. And just a quick plug, you know, if you're a fleet out there who is interested in finding out more information about both the data or about, you know, accessing some of these funds and tapping into some of this technology, feel free to reach out to us at Empire Clean Cities, and we can either help you directly if you're in our area, or we can connect you with the clean cities in your area. And if you are one of the trailblazers that is already using EVs in your fleet, we'd love to have you as part of this study. As you can see, you know, we've got a lot of vehicles and data partners already as part of the study, but, you know, more data means more accurate findings and more insights. And so we'd love to have you sign up to be a data partner.
Yeah, and let me say, as Joy sort of laid out that timeline, so 2035 for passenger and SUVs, and then, you know, for commercial trucks, it'll be a little bit later, but it's coming. You know, there's going to be a date where that hits, and it's easy to sit there and say, well, that's 15, 20 years down the line, but that comes on pretty quickly. The point is, as the state and the feds and other groups provide grants and funding for these programs, the better information you're working with, we're all working with, the better those programs are going to look like, the easier it's going to be to purchase vehicles and implement them into your fleet. And that starts with this sort of data project. It starts with understanding what the pain points are, what works, what maybe needs to go back to the drawing board, and that's how we all move forward. So yes, if you are incorporating any sort of electric vehicle into your fleet right now, please contact Joy and Empire Clean Cities. Please contact CalSTART to be a part of this program, so that those incentives that are built out, so that policy that's built out really does work for everybody, because it follows relevant data. To that end, though, let's sort of dive a little bit into the presentation, because that we're still sort of coming up at the, what do we think is sort of the critical, maybe critical mass isn't the right word, but what do fleets need to do now in the Northeast to take that next step from the ones who started with the yard tractors, which is great, and that's something that we certainly encourage fleets looking to dip their toe in the water to start with the yard tractors, but the ones that did that already, where do they go from there? Like, what's the next step from yard tractor to something on the road that's on the road more, that's really a work truck and not, you know, as Yen pointed out, something that sits idle so often that doesn't travel a lot of mileage?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I will just add my 2 cents, and Mark and Joy, feel free to add your ideas. So I think if the audience know about like this beach hat models, usually the technologies for electrification starts from these yacht tractors, kind of these heavy duty off-road vehicles, but we definitely can learn the lessons from, you know, similar technologies that can learn lessons for the on-road heavy duty trucks. We do have like heavy duty trucks data and medium duty trucks data in the database. And we're also collecting like the context of how these vehicles are operating in the real life. So these lessons learned are, you know, will go hand in hand. We not only learn from yacht tractor, pretty much their duty cycles are very unique, but some of their technologies are similar for other trucking. So we can still learn some lessons from them. And as we collect more data for the on-road vehicles, that I'm pretty sure we are going to. So we'll be able to have all these lessons learned consolidated into as the final product of this project. So I definitely we're very excited about these outcomes from the project. Yeah. I don't know if Mark and Joy want to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add, you know, take a look at your fleet and you know, what the sort of the duty cycles are for some of your on-road vehicles. You know, there are pretty significant ranges for some of the medium and heavy duty vehicles these days, and so you'd be surprised if how far the technology has come in the past decade. And so I encourage you to take a look at what vehicles you can replace in the near term based on the range that we're seeing of the available technology. And reach out to your fellow fleet managers through organizations like the Trucking Association of New York, or through your local NAFA chapter, and just talk to folks who are already operating the technology in their region, and especially in similar climates that we have here in New York, and talk to them about what works and what doesn't work. And you can see, you know, that in some cases, or in a lot of cases, the technology is applicable to your fleet as well. And if you need help making those connections, obviously you can reach out to any of us here on the call, and we're happy to help facilitate those conversations.
Yeah, Joy, also I want to add that you could also reach out to CalSTART. We have member services that helps fleets. We provide advice and information products about the industry and how it's moving. So just having that knowledge and knowing where the market's going, knowing what opportunities there are as far as government grants to help bring more EVs into your fleet. That I believe that for a fleet, that would be the next steps, is getting that information, staying in tune through, you know, member services, and also working with clean cities. I think those are the best options for a fleet.
Mark, have the fleets that have been enrolled in this program, have they seen the data yet, or are you waiting until the sort of project is done for them to see the data?
There's a little bit of both. Right now, we do have a lot of the data. We have a dashboard on our project webpage, and also one once a participating fleet completes the 12 months of data collection that we get from their vehicles, we provide them a fleet report card. So a tailored analytical report showing how exactly their fleet performs based off of their duty cycle and other factors. So yes, they have seen the data, but the project is still ongoing, so we have a lot of fleets that have not yet completed the 12 months of data collection, and once they do, they'll be receiving a fleet report card.
That's fascinating. I didn't even realize you did report cards, which I think might even be just another reason for fleets to sign on right there, because they have internal efficiency goals. They have, many of them are going to have internal sustainability goals, and a report card might be the perfect starting point for them, considering this is a free program for them to join. You know, what better way to do it than that? That's awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think particularly if your fleet doesn't already operate using its own telematics or data loggers, this is an opportunity sort of to quote unquote test drive some of those technologies. And in addition to getting your own report card, which is anonymous, by the way, and that you can sort of compare to this larger national data study.
Fantastic. Really appreciate it. Yeah, fantastic presentation. Mark, the work you and your team are doing at CalSTART is really fantastic. I mean, this is what was one of the missing components to get to those fleet managers and that C-suite level, I think, to really kickstart some EV and zero emission vehicle adaptation. And Joy, of course, thank you so much for all you do. I guess a quick plug for those of you who are in the New York City metropolitan area, Joy and her team are going to have an EV demonstration in Union Square. What time does that run? It's October 13th from, what is it, like 10 to 2?
Yeah, Thursday, October 13th from 9 to 2 p.m. We'll be in the North Plaza of Union Square, and you'll get the opportunity to see a variety of clean transportation technologies. We're also having one-on-one fleet coaching sessions, and so you'll have the opportunity to meet with our team, and we can walk you through the available incentives and sort of match you up with what funding and what technologies might be right for your fleet. So visit us at empirecleancities.org or just swing by Union Square on the 13th and come check it out.
Awesome. Thanks. Absolutely. You know, I mean, I'll be there. Really looking forward to it. It's always been a great event. And then that's part of it too, right? We have today's presentation, which is the data collection. And then there is an event like that where you can actually get in the vehicle, touch the vehicle, talk to the OEM and really see what can work, what physically can work for you. And we need both of them to get that adaptation going. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the work you do. Everyone's contact information and links are in the description below. And if you like the content you see, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Stream.